Hopper.
Good morning, or I guess we're afternoon now, since we're starting after lunch. Dr. Greenstein, I appreciate you being here today. I actually did read this cover to cover.
Wow.
So in case you wondered if anybody did, somebody did anyway.
Thank you.
And I do have a couple questions, specifically when we talk about this sharing system that you mentioned in your State of the State address, or the State of the System address. Could you give me specifics? I've read kind of the outline of what you're looking to do, but when you talk about aligning budgets, are we talking specifically about combining administrative costs? What are we looking at? Are we talking about students that can transfer between universities with credit? If you could give me just a couple specifics about what that might look like.
Yeah, let me just so take it on the cost and on the revenue side. So on the cost side, you're looking at sharing, back office function. Could be, we already do payroll, but imagine extending that into, data centers, financial aid packaging. There's just a whole range, and I'm not sort of necessarily saying that we'll do those things, but we'll be looking at sharing out those kinds of back office functions, and it's purely a matter of cost saving. We don't need to have 14 instantiations of every business service that a university needs to operate. You can drive your costs down in that way. On the revenue side, there are opportunities for doing shared programming. So a couple of examples. We reckon that there are about 1 million plus adults in Pennsylvania who have some college but no degree, and they need to continue to come back to higher education in order to reskill and upskill and to improve their opportunities in the labor market. There are opportunities for us to work together as a system to create a program that individual campuses can deliver online to those adults or on ground to those adults, but it becomes a collaborative effort where we're actually sharing in the academic programming. And there's a variety of options like that as well.
And you mentioned that one of the things that you're taking a strong look at is making sure the programs that you have, the degrees that are offered, are actually fitting the workforce that we need here in Pennsylvania. I think at one point I read that you've begun 32 additional academic programs, but you've cut something like 300.
Correct.
Can you give me some examples, not all 300, but a few of those that you feel can go, and then maybe some of the ones that will help as we move forward?
Right, so the programs that are listed there's 32 programs there. I think pretty much all master's level programs, graduate level programs, and they will be in areas of STEM, business, et cetera. Specific areas in particular. Actually, just today we had a conversation about a doctorate in social work. We had a conversation about physician assistantships. These are high need areas in various different regions. So those are the kind of new programs. On the programs that have been retired, we've seen decline, for example, in education, demand for education, although we expect that to be an uptick coming forward. So you're seeing some contraction there, and you're seeing contraction in other areas which are just not high enrollment.
What other areas might?
I'm going to have to pass and get back to you because that list is not in my head.
All right. Well, I guess what I'm trying to get to is, do you believe that we will have the ability to actually measure, when we're talking about students graduating and whether staying in Pennsylvania, but even if not, are able to graduate, get jobs in their field at a certain amount of money?
Yeah.
Do you feel that we can set markers that we can hit when evaluating whether we're doing the job or not, whether we're actually getting the bang for our buck when it comes to students graduating, getting jobs in their field, and jobs, quite frankly, that pay? Because if you're getting a doctorate in social work or something, and then you're making $30,000 in that field, that's not really helping in terms of that student's financial future.
Yeah, so the good news is we can already do those measurements, right? We have been doing that for some years, and we're getting better. I mean, one of the reasons, frankly, that I chose to come to Pennsylvania, to the state system, was because it actually has incredible data resources which enable us to not fly blind in a very difficult and challenging higher education marketplace. Our workforce and education and alignment data and our wage data are actually really good. We do not yet have goals. That is one of the things you'll begin to see emerging in the course of this redesign, is that we'll be developing specific goals for student success, a variety of indicators that get at the extent to which our students are achieving the kind of outcomes that we want to see them achieving, and university success, which really gets at the financial health of our universities and our system.
That student success component is something I'm very interested in, that when you develop that, as we develop it together or as the board governor looks at it, I really would like to see those be measured. And to the point that in some states, and I'll close with this, they're moving to a system where they're actually, the funding from the legislature is affected based on that. So it's performance-based. So at the end of the year, we look at the metrics and say, okay, you know, you've hit your goals, so now you will get X amount of dollars increase, and if you don't, then you won't. So it's something that I'm very interested in. I'm not sure if you're interested in that part of it, but I think it could be very helpful.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.